Good evening. My name is Cadet James Douglas Justice. Today I'm going to be briefing you on troop leading procedures at the squad level. I'm a squad leader in 1st Squad, 2nd Platoon, Bravo Company, 1-17 Infantry Division. This is an unclassified brief. Next slide. 1 second. Okay. Awesome. Introduction. This is an information briefing. The purpose of this is to inform yourselves, junior NCOs, about the impact of troop leading procedures on our squad as a rifle squad. Basically, what's going to happen here is this is going to give you a brief explanation of what TLPs are and how they're going to impact the platoon, yourself, and your team as a JNCO. Bottom line up front, follow this process, kind of know what's going on with the PL here, and execute accordingly. What are TLPs? Troop leading procedures provide a framework for planning and preparing for a platoon mission, and they continue throughout the entire operation process. So I'm going to go over them real quick, just to kind of give you a generalized idea of what they are. So number 1, you're going to receive the mission. Number 2, you're going to issue the warning order. 3, make a tentative plan. 4, initiate movement. 5, conduct reconnaissance. 6, you're going to complete the plan. 7, you're going to issue an order. And 8, you're going to supervise and refine. Next slide. So we're going to go over what all of these are essentially, and then we're going to give you an idea of what the impact for yourselves as JNCOs are. So step number 1, we're going to your platoon leader is going to receive the mission, and they're going to basically know what's going on. They're going to start to prepare a warning order. As soon as that warning order comes out, you need to be prepared to start to execute as team leaders. And prepare for the mission. So that means get your men ready, get your equipment ready, along those lines. Okay. Next, the platoon leader is going to issue a warning order. This is a rough draft, basically what's going on in this situation, and how do we act accordingly. As soon as we get this, we need to be prepared to execute. As I said before, get your men ready, get their supplies ready. Basically, we've got a third of time in an ideal situation where the PL can prepare our operation order, which is like the final draft of the plan. And then we've got 2/3 of that time to start to execute. So the quicker we get to executing, the more prepared we're going to be for the mission. This graphic right here shows different avenues of approach to get to Objective Beast as given here. This came straight from the Army doctrine. Basically, we're using this to illustrate in an ideal situation, you're going to have both visuals and words, what's going on here, definitely in the operation order, hopefully in the warning order. Make a tentative plan. Our PL is going to basically start to make a plan based on what he knows, risk assessment, etc. Here we're basically waiting for the plan unless we have a warning order that's sufficient enough that we can begin to prepare and execute the mission. Not execute the mission, but prepare for the mission. Meaning training, get your men ready, make sure they know what's going on. Everybody needs to read both the warning order and the operation order. Next, we're going to initiate movement. This does not necessarily have to happen in this order. Ideally, it happens after the warning order is issued. You can start to prepare. But to execute the mission itself, this can happen anywhere in the process. Impact on TLs, make sure yourselves and your men are ready so that our entire squad is ready to execute the mission. Conduct reconnaissance. So here's a beautiful visual representation of kind of like a landscape that a platoon leader made. So the platoon leader is going to send out somebody from Signal and Communications to establish communication for ourselves to kind of like get that worked out. And then he is going to send a team out or a group of people out to, kind of analyze the landscape, see what's going on, what it looks like so that we can make one of these. And we basically have an idea of the territory we're dealing with so that, we don't go over the hill necessarily if that's not the most efficient way. We can go around the hill and get to the house. So impact on TLs, as soon as we get this, pay attention and execute accordingly. I'll keep saying that throughout this brief so that your men are not disadvantaged and we can do this the most effective way. Plan's going to be completed here. Basically, Platoon leader's going to finalize the plan, make any adjustments that need to be made. Here, we're still waiting on the op order. As soon as we get that, we can execute. Issue the order. So this is when the operation order comes out. It'll have a situation telling us what's going on, a mission explaining what we're doing, execution, how we're going to do it, sustainment, what we need to do it, and then command and signal, how we're going to get in contact with the command, how we're going to work with the command, how we're going to get in contact with other people. Fragmentary orders in an extreme or emergency situation. The PL can issue one of these. It's basically it's an even rougher draft, essentially. It's an on-the-spot mission or duty that's got to be done. It's time-sensitive. So this is not going to be a full op order. If you get one of these, read it and execute. Read and execute. There's no but, if, or about it. As soon as you can, execute. And conclusion, follow these troop leading procedures, receiving the mission, issue the warning order, make a tentative plan, initiate movement, conduct reconnaissance, complete the plan, issue the order, supervise, and refine. Kind of go over this. Watch what your PL's doing. And as soon as you get your warning order and your operation order, begin to execute. Bottom line in the back, follow the process and act accordingly in your position to make sure you and your team can execute as effectively as possible. Here's the Army doctrine we use, ATP 6-02.22. This is a signal platoon. It's where we got all of our illustrations and that kind of stuff for the most part. And it'll give you a rundown on what the TLPs are in the Army as a whole, not just for us, but for signal platoons as well. It's based off of signal platoons. And then finally, we used FM 6-0, which showed us how to organize this brief so that it was most effective for you today. That concludes this brief, pending any further questions.